For Kevin Zielinski's orchard business, honeybees are a vital resource. They are charged with the important task of pollination. And in late spring, that's exactly what they're doing.
This time of the year we've finished the pruning process, so right now our orchard is ready for the next crop season, starting with blossom. And as you can see in the orchard at this time, that's where we are. We're fortunate to have sunshine and some warmth today so the bees can have activity. And the essential part of this is getting pollination of the fruit, and that's where we rely upon the bee. The bee is a very important tool to accomplish something that we as tradesmen are not able to accomplish with other methods, at least not adequately enough to create the amount of pollination we need to have a successful crop. The bee naturally is foraging in the blossoms for nectar, and in that process is transferring pollen from one flower to the next and from one fruit variety to the next, which allows the cross-pollination process to happen, which allows us to develop a fruit that's then matures.
While the beehives remain in the same place throughout their stay here, the honeybees make their way to each corner of the orchard, gathering nectar from as many flowers as possible. And when the bees are finished, the beekeeper will pick them up and move on to the next crop.
There's a beekeeper that we have a relationship, and this person brings bees in to our orchard during this important time of year. And the beekeepers have two important purposes to why they care for bees. One is to collect honey, but just as important is their purpose of bringing bees to the orchards and the other crops that need pollination from the activity of a honeybee. And so the beekeeper will move these hives from orchard to orchard or from field to field throughout the season of need. They may start with the hives in Southern California, and as crops come into their bloom period, as the season warms going north, they kind of follow that and could end up as far north as the Canadian border by the end of the pollen season.
This orchard is home to mostly apple and pear trees, and each variety blossoms at a different time.
There are a few pear varieties at the end of their bloom cycle. Peaches have already finished their bloom for the season. Most varieties of fruit bloom pretty consistently, so apples are a little later than pears. Pears are mid-season, peaches are earlier than the rest. But through that time period, there's a spread of different varieties of fruit blooming at different times. Bees like apples. They will fly very aggressively through apples to collect nectar. So we'll have an opportunity to see some pretty good bee activity today. It's one of my favorite times of the year. It has a lot of anxiety attached to it as well, because we're dependent upon weather to get good bee flight and temperature to help secure that the fruit does set after it's pollinated. So along with the beauty of the season, there's a certain amount of trepidation in the whole process.
To learn more about honeybees, visit our website, livingcultureonline.com.